It's midday in Banjul. Hello and welcome to Sky Power Radio and Television Services. On the news review today, the 22nd of November 2020, I am Aisha Lam and thank you very much for joining us. We will take a look at the newspaper headlines, but first with the Point newspaper. The Gambia's governance and democratic transformance process has been recognized by the United States government. Honorable Saho slams Barrow for using state resources in by-election. Senegal is pointing fingers at ships believed to be carrying toxic products as mysterious disease manifested in the country. And finally, a sit-down strike in Gambia's judiciary affects administration of justice. These stories and more coming ahead this hour. The Gambia's governance and democratic transformance has been recognized by the United States government. This indicates in its Millennium Challenge Corporation scorecard for the fiscal year 2021. The MCC scorecard was presented to the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, through the U.S. Embassy on November 13th. At its quarterly meeting in December 2018, the U.S. government Millennium Challenge Corporation Board of Directors reselected the Gambia for continued threshold program development focused on policy and institutional reform to economic growth and reduce poverty in the Gambia. Vice President Touré assured the MCC team that the Gambia will work hard to ensure that there are improvements in areas where they have shortcomings or where they underperformed. She noted that the scores are great achievement for the government of the Gambia and the people of the Gambia at large. Dr. Aissatou Touré said she was overwhelmed and happy to note that Gambia had gone that far in fulfilling its democratic obligation. Vice President Touré assured the MCC team that the Gambia will work hard to ensure that there are improvements in areas where they have shortcomings. She noted that these scores are great achievement for the government of the Gambia and all Gambians at large. Honorable Saho slams Barrow for using state resources in by-elections. Suleiman Saho, the National Assembly member for Central Badibu, has said that President Adama Barrow should not brag about Kerjarga Ward and Nyamina West by-elections after his party emerged victorious in both areas. According to him, the National People's Party emerged victorious against their opponents because they used state resources, inducement, and threatening local authorities and senior government officials of losing their jobs. Honorable Saho added that ministers and political advisors of President Adama Barrow were seen parading the length and breadth of Kerjarga Ward. He added that President Adama Barrow should put it at the back of his mind that both elections shouldn't be used as a barometer for his political progress or a benchmark for 2021. Honorable Saho, however, admits that Kerjarga is not a stronghold base for UDP and APRC and that they need more rigorous efforts before 2021 presidential elections in the area. The Central Badibu lawmaker called on UDP supporters not to see it as humiliation, but a challenge which he said needs to be tackled. He thanked the entire North Bank region team for their political participation. Senegal is pointing out fingers at ships believed to be carrying toxic products as mysterious disease manifested in the country. It has affected nearly 700 people so far as the country equally battles with coronavirus, a pandemic that has affected every corner of the world. The mysterious dermatological type disease manifested by pimples on the face, lips, private parts, arms, as well as watery eyes, which made its appearance in Charoy, taking on worrying proportions according to Sunuweb News. Mamadou Job Chun, member of the High Council of Territorial Collectivity, also the National Coordinator of Social Dialogue, Fisheries and Aquaculture, is reported to have told a source that this sudden onset of the disease is due to commercial boats that transport chemical products. Calls have been made on the Ministry of Fisheries, the National Agency for Maritime Affairs, the high authorities for the Corporation of Maritime Safety and Security, and the National Navy, and all those working in maritime concessions in order to stop this scourge which has affected nearly 700 fishermen. Still on the Point newspaper, the ongoing sit-down strike by judicial workers in the Gambia has affected the administration of justice. On Wednesday, the 18th of November 2020, employees of the judiciary began an indefinite sit-down strike in protest for their administration's failure to meet their demands. No court case proceeded before the Superior Court in Banjul as well as subordinate courts countrywide. The strike will increase the burden of the judiciary to deal with backlog of cases and other fresh cases speedily. All courts in the Gambia have backlog of cases at their bosom which they are trying to dispense. People on strike are demanding for better work conditions and have laid 5 demands before their authorities for fulfillment. We are not working until our demands are met. That is our stance, the people on strike at the High Court said. The people on strike included bailiffs, secretaries, messengers, cleaners, drivers, registrars, account staffs, and interpreters, among others. The strikers have maintained their ground that their work conditions must be improved before they return to work as they continue with their sit-down strikes. The ongoing nationwide sit-down strike by judicial workers is the first of its kind since the change of regime in 2016, and it started on the 18th of November 2020. The sit-down strike was coordinated by the Judiciary Staff Association, which has been engaging the authorities at the judiciary. The judicial officer said the Chief Justice constituted a task force to look into the demands to intercede between the employees and the administration. The Catholic Medical Mission through Child Fund the Gambia on Thursday extended magnanimity to the Ministry of Health with the presentation of 25th container loaded with medical items. The presentation was held at the Central Medical Store in Kotu. The medical supply is meant to complement the Ministry of Health's effort in providing quality and affordable health service to all. The items donated including surgical materials, antibiotics, among others. Handing over the items, Amusukuta Komaba, Child Fund Country Director, said her institution has successfully supported the Ministry of Health in their quest to deliver affordable and timely care to the population. She expressed delight with Child Fund's partnership with the Ministry of Health, further expressing hope that the ministry will urgently distribute the items to the health facilities. Our genuine partnership with the Ministry of Health has significantly helped our common vision to make sure that the country's health sector is well stocked with medicine and equipments for accessible and quality healthcare delivery to all, especially children, she added. For his part, Mamadou Njai, Director of Health Promotions at the Ministry of Health, lauded Child Fund the Gambia for the foresight and benevolence in helping the ministry to ensure that the management of sick children is strengthened at all levels. Women vegetable growers in Jaratonia Taba village in the Lower River region have called on government through the Ministry of Agriculture to help them with capacity building training to increase their knowledge and practical experience in gardening. Well, in a recent exclusive interview with our reporter, the women, who remain optimistic about the future of their agricultural undertakings, hinted that with the training and support they can significantly increase and boost the crop production levels in their communities. Fatu Dabo, president of Women Vegetable Growers in the village, said despite the availability of boreholes in garden, women still face acute water shortage when it comes to watering their nursery beds. He also lamented that a lack of proper market in the village to showcase their product is another obstacle hindering their productions. Jara Soma Market is the main market in LRR where all surrounding villages take their garden produce to sell, she added. She complained about some of the challenges they faced at the region's main market in summer when it comes to the collection of duties from vendors, saying duty collectors always give them a tough time whenever they are at the market to sell their gardening products by asking them to move from one place to another. Village Alcalo Kebanjai thanked the women gardeners in the village for their commitment, hard work and dedication towards self-reliance. He expressed optimistic that with the level of commitment among the women, coupled with the much-needed support from government, they can significantly contribute to ending hunger in the country. Still on the news review, Gambians are urged to register families for future paybacks. A team of task force members comprising various government departments and agencies, namely Office of the Vice President, the Department of Social Welfare, Ministry of Health, alongside the Department of Community Development, on Sunday began a 20-day nationwide public information campaign on Gambia social registry under the auspices of the National Social Protection Secretariat. The campaign, spearheaded by the Department of Information Service, is a World Bank-funded project under the Office of the Vice President. This is the second phase of the nationwide campaign the task force members have embarked on and are expected to meet all regional governors and district chiefs in informing them about the campaign. At a meeting held in Fonyi Breford in the West Coast region, Ibrahim Njai, Deputy Director at the Department of Information Service, gave a brief background to the campaign, highlighting the numerous payback that can be received by Gambians in the future by registering their household members. The government of the Gambia, he added, has established an office called Gambia Social Registry, where all these registration details will be kept in a database in case government or an NGO came up with a donation for the people of the country, and there will be no problem in distributing that donation. Deputy Director Njai therefore used opportunity to call on Gambians to come out in their numbers and register their households as well as newly born babies, saying no one should be left behind. And finally, over to the Standard newspaper. The families of some West African migrants who were killed in the Gambia under former President Yahya Jammeh have sued the governments of Gambia and Ghana. They filed complaint on Wednesday against the two governments before ECOWAS Community Court of Justice for several international human rights violations, including the right to judicial remedies. In July 2005, 44 Ghanaian migrants, as well as some 12 other West Africans from Nigeria, Senegal, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire, including 2 women, one reportedly pregnant, forcibly disappeared in the Gambia while on their way to Europe. Gambia national Lamin Tunkara reported to have been their smuggler also suffered the same fate. Following the enforced appearance and for years afterwards, Ghanaian and Gambian civil society organizations have joined forces with the sole survivor and families of those disappeared to campaign for those responsible to be held accountable in fair trials. However, their demands have fallen on deaf ears. In addition, 5 different United Nations human rights monitors have expressed concern to both governments at the lack of credible investigation carried out so far. That does it for this news edition, but before we take a leave of you, a recap of stories that made headlines this week. The Gambia's governance and democratic transformance process has been recognized by United States government. Honorable Saho slams Barrow for using state resources in by-elections. Senegal is pointing fingers at ships believed to be carrying toxic products as mysterious disease manifested in the country. Sit-down strike in Gambia's judiciary affects administration of justice. That was all we have for you on the Sky Power News edition this week. Thank you very much for the pleasure of your company, and do stay tuned with us for the rest of our programs.